Three, two, one. Actually recording this time. I won't tell the juicers what happened last time I said I was recording. Moving swiftly along. How you doing, Gareth?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So Gareth is actually the first person on the pod who also has his own pod. So Papa Jesus, give him a follow, guys.
Yeah, lekker.
I'll put the link in the description. And we like to chat about sports, mostly combat sports, mostly the UFC, mostly the welterweight division.
No. You like to talk mostly about the welterweight division.
I'm gonna rename my podcast to the welterweight division. But yeah, so I've been away for a while. Welcome back, everybody. I obviously have some explaining to do. I was in Hoedspruit for a few months. I had COVID. I was isolating. I'm still in my kitchen. We'll get back to the studio soon, and I'll have the mic and all that good stuff. But a lot of things happened in between now and then. And then also we'll probably do a pod with Nick because there's problems in Mozambique, there's problems in Afghanistan, there's problems in America as usual. So we'll have to have Nick on and talk about some politics. But today we're talking sports, we're talking the Springboks, we're talking Aljamain Sterling, the champion, and we're talking about the UFC welterweight division. How's it going on your side, bro? Any news?
Yeah, not too bad. Just trying to live in this weird world that we're living in at the moment, but trying to make do, trying to keep busy, work, podcasts, like we said, youtube.com/Papa G's house.
There we go. And I just want to thank the famous grouse, especially the Smoky Black, smooth, peaty, and aromatic blended Scotch whiskey. Tastes delicious.
Nice. I was going to join you for a whiskey this evening, but unfortunately, I didn't have any sort of ice, so I've opted for some cider as usual. I'm trying to get rid of it because I'm trying to live a little bit more of a healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to reduce it to wine and some whiskey on occasion.
So I saw your breakfast shake this morning. That was quite healthy. What was that? Tell us the recipe.
Man, I mean, listen, it was the first one. It was great. It was, and I went for a run yesterday. I mean, I used to be hugely active, and in the last couple of years, I've become a bit complacent, a little bit. You know, when you're not feeling it, sometimes you have to push yourself to exercise, and that's something that I used to pride myself on back in the day. And I haven't done it for so many years, and I finally decided that I'm tired of feeling unhealthy, even though I'm like not really an unhealthy guy. I don't necessarily eat too badly. I do have an alcoholic beverage from time to time, but I need to get that work in, get the sweat in, get the exercise, eat my berries and all that kind of stuff. So it was just oats, berries, and banana smoothie.
Look quite delicious. I mean, I know what you mean. I'm still sorry, guys. I'm still sweating because I came back from my 3.1 kilometers.
Oh, great segue.
But I know I've been there. I was so complacent when I got back from Hoedspruit in the Kruger. I was just like, for a month I did nothing, and then I got COVID, and I think I got more sick than I needed to if I'd been active. You also like. I do. Today was my first run that I had where I actually felt normal again, because it does mess with your lungs. You've had your first vaccine, right?
Yeah, I did. I had my first vaccine early in July. I mean, on the 15th, actually, it's the day that registration for our age group opened.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse my dogs. It happens from time to time.
No, they sound
if
beautiful.
You can hear them. But but yeah, man, it's next week booked for my second one. I'm excited. I've got a couple of weddings coming up, so I'm stoked that it's all happening in time, so I can go and still be careful, but have a little bit of fun, because I think I've been pretty good at keeping myself caged in for the last 18 months.
Yeah, I've been pretty bad at that. So that is actually also why I went to Hoedspruit, is because there was like one case of COVID.
Just needed to get away a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and just later you can go to the bar and shake people's hands, and it's in the bush. So there's no like when you're out in the bush, there's no COVID. I think there was one case the entire time, and then when the numbers in Joburg got really high, they shut everything down in Hoedspruit. So I came back to Cape Town, and my welcome home gift was COVID. So that was beautiful.
Well, welcome back. Glad to see you happy and healthy, and that you managed to get through. There's a lot of people that weren't so lucky. So consider yourself fortunate, man.
Well, yeah, true. No, there was a lot of people that weren't. But we need to work on the other pandemic, which is just plain violence in South Africa. I think since the start of the lockdown, I think 28,000 people died of murder in South Africa, whereas 70,000 died of COVID. So are we doing enough? Is Ramaphosa doing anything about them? Doesn't look like it. I think he still hires Becky Cele. But speaking of violence, let's move straight on to combat.
We have had that conversation before, and I did say that they are two separate issues. One's a crime issue, and the other's a public health issue. So we can skip that conversation because I'm sure everybody's so sick and tired of hearing it anyway.
Yeah, no, that's true, and being murdered is still bad for your health. So I still see it as an issue that Ramaphosa needs to get involved in.
No, 100%.
When you got a twat in a hat, when you got the twat in the hat, Becky Cele, it's absolutely useless. Change your fucking.
Listen, he was very prominent in the lockdowns and stuff. Where's he now?
No, he was
in the unrest.
He was on the beach to make sure no one went on the beach, and then when there was looting and violence in KZN, he was also on the beach just chilling.
Yeah, I saw many memes, lots of memes about that.
Yeah, no, he's a silly guy. But I suppose that is actually why I've reached out to Nick, because we'll talk about that KZN looting, what it means for South Africa, what it means for law and order.
For sure. I've checked a couple of your episodes with Nick, and they're very cool, man. I really enjoy them. So I also urge the listeners to go check it out because Nick's a fascinating guy.
He's very knowledgeable on politics and law. Somehow, I don't know. He reads a lot. And so, anything to say about the rugby, the Springboks? We do all sorts of combat here, including the front row against the good Lions tour. Good Lions tour. Eh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, marred with controversy. From the get-go, it was Gatlin versus Erasmus. Then it was
I'm okay. I was okay with that one.
Yeah, look, I was okay with it as well. What I didn't realize that the video was not actually supposed to be released to the public, and it was leaked. That was information that I didn't know. But yeah, look, he made up some great points. But then again, I read an article of them interviewing Nigel Owens, who's possibly one of the most respected referees in the world. And he says he's had so many videos sent to him about every single mistake he's made. It's just it's a matter of managing it. So yeah, look, marred with controversy, great series, especially the third test match.
Yeah,
super
very tight.
Obviously, the more things change, the more they stay in the stand.
You know what? I'm actually angry that I haven't heard anyone say that. The 37-year-old doesn't feel pressure. That's what it comes down to. And that was excellent selection. From the selectors and stuff. They just knew. Brilliant.
And also 12 years apart, insane. What a
historic from his debut to that game.
Yeah, 100%.
And have you watched highlights of his debut? Because I saw highlights of his debut yesterday. Morné Steyn.
No, I haven't gone.
He made some cracking tackles in that game. I think he did one try-saving tackle. Nothing compared to Siya Kolisi's try-saving tackle the other day. But he also kicked a similar distance, and we won. I think we won by 3 points, unless I'm talking garbage. It was quite a similar game that he had, although he played more minutes in his debut.
Listen, it was a series that really made the audience or the fans of rugby really pay attention, because it was exhilarating from start to finish. There was news headlines every day, which hyped up. It's like hyping a fight. They hyped it up so well. It's almost like they're adopting the same approach, philosophy as the same approach as WWE, the UFC, and all that kind of stuff, because it got the eyes on it, got everybody talking. But then also, it's great that we're talking a week later where Oz and New Zealand have just played, and the level of rugby is a different story. So it's going to be very interesting to see us the Springboks versus both Oz and New Zealand, because creative rugby over there is blossoming.
Yeah. By the way, the guy he came on for Mornay Steyn 12 years ago was Ruan Pina. So that shows you how
and he's
far
still
back
playing, and he's still playing well for.
Yeah.
I think he's playing for the Cheetahs now. Yeah. Crazy.
But just on that, Dwayne Vermeulen is back for that Oceania tour. So he's going to be. So when it comes to creative rugby, a lot of the time, if you watch the way, I mean, my rugby knowledge is not too good, but if you watch the way England play against us and New Zealand play against us, their forwards will run with the ball at Vermeulen and make him tackle them, because then there's a bit more confusion in our line and in our ruck. Whereas when Vermeulen's in his element is when he's directing other players into tackles and telling players to fold them and get down the line when they need to defend, fold on, move left, move right. Vermeulen's like very much our captain in that way.
We've also got some brand new Lucies. We've also got some brand new Lucies that bring a lot to the game. She's the one name escapes me, but you know what? Aside from the Springboks, everybody needs to keep an eye on this guy, Evan Roos. He's the number 8 for Western Province. Don't be surprised if you see him in green and gold sometime soon.
Is he good? Is he like a?
He's really good. Exciting number 8.
Okay, awesome.
But Dwayne's great. But obviously Dwayne is.
He's got some miles on him.
Also, he's got a lot of miles on him. He's a leader and all that kind of stuff, and he's not gonna be around for forever. So guys like Evan Roos, he has a very similar style of play to Dwayne and the Skulkburgers of the world. He's a joy to watch.
One thing that I think just for today, there's not a lot going on in the world of boxing. I usually love talking about boxing with you.
Besides Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, that's happening in 2 weeks. So we're gonna talk about. Can you call this boxing? Isn't this celebrity boxing? Isn't it different?
Big paydays, boxing gloves, boxing shoes, boxing trunks, boxing ring.
Referee, bright lights, cameras, huge pay-per-views, massive paydays. Big names. I don't know if Jake Paul's a big name. He hasn't beaten anyone yet. If he beats Tyron Woodley.
In the influence culture, in the social media culture.
Yeah, he's a big YouTuber. He's a big YouTuber. I'll give him that.
It transfers.
He's got more subscribers than Juice Radio.
He's winning. He's winning a lot of people over as well. He's meeting with guys like Chael Sonnen. He's interviewing with people at MMAfighting.com. John Morgan of
Ariel Helwani. He interviewed with Ariel Helwani.
He's spoken to Helwani, but that's when Helwani was at ESPN. He is now back at Vox Media and MMA Fighting. That was a great show last night, I must say. Darren Till brought his best.
I need to watch that tonight. I haven't seen it.
Darren Till, Izzy Adesanya. He interviewed
Uriah Faber. I saw the preview.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he kept the tradition going. First and last episode. I mean, let's be honest. With Papa G's house, I kind of stole or adopted Ariel's line, back in your life.
Stole is fine. You can say stole.
Yeah. Well, exactly. He says back in your life. I say back in your lives.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of one for
that trademark, bro.
Yeah, so now I saw Faber was on there, who's obviously my favorite old school fighter. I used to love
and obviously to open the show, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go for it.
Poirier fought.
DP. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
No, I need to watch the whole thing. I'll probably fast forward to I want to see what Izzy says. I want to see what Dazza Till says. And I think if we have these shows going forward, we'll also put some social media segments at the end, maybe call Jared in just to make fun of them. But I've got Leroy editing this one. But if we go live, we can start doing the
shout out Leroy.
Well, Leroy's like one of the Juice Ready characters who does animation and design and stuff. So he's been editing some of these podcasts because it's a recording. But we'll start going live soon when I'm out of the kitchen. I mean, you guys like the fridge, right?
Nice. It's looking good, bro. Listen, as long as we can see you and hear you, we're good.
Yeah. I wanted to run through the divisions with you. I know last time, every time we speak about MMA, we talk for about an hour. But maybe what we'll do is we'll try to do half an hour. So we fit this into the hour slot. And what do you think about the pound for pound? I mean, last time I spoke to you, we talked about John Jones, Kamaru Usman, Izzy's number 3, Volk's 4, and Ngannou's 5. What do you think about those pound for pound rankings?
Look, I don't understand why John Jones is still at the top. He's been inactive for 2 years almost. So as far as I'm concerned, John Jones is not the pound for pound, current pound for pound. He hasn't fought since 2019.
So he hasn't fought with no crowd in the pandemic.
No, why would he?
Even Connor's fought at Yas Island.
Well, he fought very late in the pandemic where they allowed a certain amount of people. So it was a little bit different. I think that's maybe what was the criteria for Connor to come back. But you look at guys like John Jones, Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, all those dudes, they won't fight in a Apex arena. There's no ways.
Yeah, they need
John Jones included.
Well, I mean, if the fight's big enough, you get pay-per-view, right? So there is when you say, well, like a guy like Nate Diaz, he needs a 5th round because of his insane cardio, but he also needs like a bit of a crowd. So when he slaps the guy and everything's quiet, you can hear it. But if the crowd roars and laughs at the other dude, like Nate Diaz is just a guy that seems to me like he feeds off the energy of the crowd.
100%.
And I think John Jones is the same. I think John Jones is probably the same. When Blachowicz beat Corey Anderson and ran up to the cage, John Jones stood up and said, I mean, he was like accepting the challenge because the crowd was riling him up. I mean, he probably had a few beers as well. I mean, he was watching the fight.
Yeah, look, I'm a huge John Jones fan, and I have been since I, feast my eyes on MMA for the first time in 2010, December in Thailand. And it was Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard for the lightweight title. Just as a fun fact.
That's a good I like that.
That's when I fell in love with the sport. But when I followed John Jones's career, but you know what, I've kind of fallen off the train a bit because, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of negotiation. I understand that he's looking after himself and he wants to get paid and stuff, but it's just so painstaking for a fan. It's hard to be a fan. I even think in one press conference, a fan actually said, "Hey, John, it's really hard to be your fan." Because he puts everybody through this. And I think a lot of people are just tired of it. So everybody's going, okay, fight at heavyweight, come back at heavyweight and do your thing, but stop talking and start doing. In my opinion, that's my fan point of view.
Me as well. I echo that sentiment. I mean, you almost think, okay, he wants 10 million a fight. How much does John Jones make in a fight? He probably makes 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, well, clearly and not enough in his opinion, but that's why we're having these issues. And, a lot of guys like, for instance, we mentioned Jake Paul. He's been hammering the fighter pay issue for so long. And look, the newer guys don't get paid much. I mean, I read, and we can get to this a little bit later if we get to the lightweight division. Yeah. But I was listening to an interview with obviously none other than the Count, Mike Bisping.
Oh, the Count, Mike Bisping.
Not the Mike, the Count Bisping.
I knew who you meant straight away.
Yeah. So he earned more at Cage Warriors as their champion, much more as what he was being offered. And he said he would be silly to turn down that offer because he would be going into a much lesser of a contract. So he chose to turn down the offer from the UFC 6 years ago.
Wait, you can't tell me that a Cage Warriors champion makes more than a UFC champion.
No, then a UFC fighter.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Obviously, things change when you become the champion in the UFC, and I think that's the main thing. If you can make it all the way to the top, you get all the beans. But if you don't, you're probably going to settle for average paychecks trying to get your way there.
Right, unless So I think what they do, and this is, I think this is true for every
But
fighter.
Average being a very general term, because I have no idea what,
It's the ultimate fighting championship of the world.
There's no pay grade for a UFC fighter.
So they I think what I was about to make that point where take, what's her name? JP Barr's wife?
Cheyenne.
she got her sort of 10 and 10 show money and win money. And then when they slapped her with that 50,000 bonus, she broke down in tears because that 50,000
meant so much to her.
Think about that's
a burden off her shoulders.
Yeah, massive burden off her shoulders. She's probably got 2 credit cards. She's got her staff. She's got her nutritionist. Well, I don't know if she has a nutritionist, but
she also had to move house and state and all that stuff to try and make it work. So I mean, the life of a fighter is not glamorous in the beginning. It can get glamorous, but remember, you've got 600 plus UFC fighters on the roster, and how many people out of those 600 people are benefiting from that? Brandon Moreno, Kamaru Usman, John Jones, all the champions.
Yeah. Well, I think Max Holloway still gets paid very well. I think Dustin Poirier still gets paid very well. I think Gaethje.
Yeah, but that is to my point.
Yes, correct. So there's like 10 guys,
former champions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, we're going to go down a route.
That's why you see them cutting former champions like Tyron Woodley, because it's actually too expensive to keep on the roster, because you can't contract down. You can only contract level or up.
Yes. Yeah. And the guy hasn't won a fight in, I mean, if he had won,
Jacare Souza, another one.
Yeah. No, they're on a lot of money. Look, it's like it's running a business, and it's the way all business works. So you obviously hate it until you're the one that has your own business. Then you need to try and figure out how much you're going to pay people. So I agree. I mean, look, John Jones is still there. I'll tell you why I think John Jones is still there, because he's John Jones, and Dana White wants to get him back in the ring or the octagon.
Well, also technically, John Jones is undefeated. I mean, and he's reigned champ for 10 years. Since he was 23 or something, he's been the champion. Aside all the suspensions and USADA, allegations and whatnot, at the end of the day, he's undefeated. And because the thing is, you can't count that Matt Hamill loss as a loss, because he literally was in the middle of the 10-8 round when he got disqualified. So yeah,
I'm counting that one, bro. Got it. Matt Hamill's the guy.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Michael Bisping doesn't think so.
the only Matt Hamill fight I've ever seen is the one where John Jones gave him an illegal elbow.
He also lost a very close decision to Michael Bisping.
Okay, all right.
In London. It's a very controversial decision to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, but every decision.
Just to go check that fight back.
Okay, I'll watch that. But every decision Bisping was ever involved in was controversial, especially the ones he lost. But I'm just a huge Believe You Me pod fan.
Of course.
But I'm just gonna fly through these divisions quick, and then we'll obviously spend 10 minutes on the welterweight division and talk about Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler.
Just quickly on the Believe You Me side, I've been chatting to Brian McKay, Bisping's producer. Yeah.
No way. Really?
We'll talk about it afterwards. Yeah, but we've been chatting. Yeah.
All right. I like that. Well, I've been chatting to Harrington because
fuck Harrington.
Well, I expanded my Tinder radius and my gender, so I went for men in Brooklyn.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, never mind. In the flyweight division, you got Brandon Moreno, who's the champ. Tell me the number one fight you want to see in the flyweight division.
Well, a lot of people are saying Davison, right? But
it has to be the trilogy.
But yeah, look, at the end of the day, that's what I think what's going to happen. Well, no, it doesn't really make sense because he was subbed so quickly.
Davison called him out the other day. He said, "I want my belt back."
Yeah, but if you've lost, you can't really call someone out that you've just lost to. You know what I'm saying?
If you were a dominant champion, you sometimes can.
Yeah, I mean, he was a scary dude until he got finished by Brandon Moreno. I mean, that's the truth of the situation. But I'm thinking Askar Askarov. He's been on an absolute tear, and he's one of those dudes. And you know what? He's also got quite a funny story behind him. I think he's hard of hearing or something to that effect. Yeah, he's got a great story. But if you go down the list, you got Alexander Pantoja lost for the belt. Alex Perez lost for the belt. Joseph Benavidez lost the belt. Brandon Royval and Kai Kara France are right next to each other. Kai is mixed up with a bout against Cody Garbrandt. So that's him out of it. So the only person you can think of is Askar Askarov fighting Brandon for the title if the trilogy doesn't happen.
Askar Askarov, I just figured out two pretty unique facts about this guy when I looked for him.
Yeah.
Well, actually three. He's beat Megan O'Leary's husband. Okay, let me just call him by his name, Joseph Benavidez.
Yeah.
I just had Megan O'Leary on the brain. He's unbeaten. So he had a draw with Brandon Moreno, but he's unbeaten. He hasn't lost a fight ever. Now, to unbeaten, anyone who's still listening who knows nothing about combat sports, unbeaten is
it's huge.
Really it's huge in combat sports. And so Askar Askarov competed in the 2018 World Deaf Olympics.
There we go. Yeah, so he's deaf.
Yeah, but have you ever heard of the Deaf Olympics?
No. Never heard of Deaf Olympics.
The Deaf Olympics? Yeah,
but I've heard of Matt Hamill, who was also deaf.
No, but he was just deaf because of John Jones' elbow.
Okay. Yeah, but he was also deaf in the Ultimate Fighter House. He
all right. This is a sports show, right? We do it's a culture podcast, but sports is a massive part of everyone's culture.
For sure.
What is the Deaf Olympics? This is the first time I've ever hearing about it. We will have an episode about this soon, the Deaf Olympics. And if you're good enough to be in the Deaf Olympics, surely you can also be in the Olympics if you.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think. I mean, it's no doubt a disability, 100%.
But yeah, it's a disability.
If you're a weightlifter, it doesn't really affect you.
If you're throwing a javelin, or if you like a 100-meter sprinter, yes, you have to use your ears because or a swimmer's got to get that. Take your set, and you got to go. But I mean, someone he's a wrestler. I mean, this guy was in. Let me just check.
But also some of those people will also feel the sound through their feet and whatnot.
But no, but he's a wrestler, so maybe I don't know. Maybe wrestling. Maybe when you wrestle someone, it is helpful to wrestle against another guy who's deaf because your coach is telling you grab his leg, mount, sweep, all those beautiful things that you can do in wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it must have been interesting for Matt Hamill because when he was, and also Askar at the same time. I mean, I don't know how far Matt Hamill got up in the UFC ranking, but to get to number 2 in the flyweight division of the premier competition,
fighting championship in the
MMA in the world, and you not be able to hear your coaches, which means once you're in there on your own. You don't have 4 guys cornering you, telling you what to do. So that in itself almost gives me goosebumps, dude. It's crazy.
Incredible. And if you take a guy like Bisping, he could still hear his coaches, even though he had one eye. So he had that left hook Larry, and he had every other faculty that he had. He just couldn't see properly out of his left side. Did you hear?
People need to understand that was from 2013. That was like in the middle of his career, dude, when he got that.
And he won the belt in 2016, right?
2016, yeah.
I think it was.
So he fought 3 years with one eye.
Wow. Well, and then a few fights after he won the belt, where he lost to Gastelum and eventually GSP.
And both were left hooks that put him down.
Yeah. Well, they knew by then where his weakness was. And just while we on the Bisping topic,
I hope you don't mind me puffing on my little thing here.
Yeah, look, there's a band, eh? No, so everything's allowed on the Juice Ready pod. Do you know that so we've spoken about the Believe You Me pod about 3 times. That's great. That's great. You know, they got 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's where we're going. Did you hear about the story about where he took Lucas to scuba diving?
I don't recall the story, no, but I heard about Lucas.
It was on the recent pod like 4 days ago. So he takes Lucas scuba diving, and Lucas is so excited that for the listeners, Lucas is Michael Bisping's 10-year-old son, the former UFC middleweight champion of the world. It's his son.
Legend.
Absolute legend. And he says Lucas runs forward and he's excited to jump in the water, and he's in Mexico. And the diving instructor goes, hey, you don't want to jump in. You're going to get fucking back on the boat. That's my Puerto Rican accent. You know what I mean? And he says, you're going to get back on the boat. You either jump in or you leave it. So he's like, no, I want to talk to my son. Fuck that. Shut up. Let me talk to my sons. Then they got into a fight and Bisping's like, okay, remain calm. Now he got this guy who could throw left hooks if he wanted to. Anyway, the whole day was ruined because he was so stressed because he told Lucas to swim on his right and Lucas decided to deliberately or not swim on his left. And Bisping couldn't see out of his this. Bisping had to swim like this.
My word.
He said it's the most beautiful place in Mexico. The water is super clear. He was stressed that Lucas was going to die because he kept on thinking of sharks and crocodiles and all those beautiful things that live in the water.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but he is that type of guy that kind of like stresses himself out, and he's just a highly strung dude, but that's what makes him so entertaining, man.
Absolutely. I think exactly right. And when Bisping's podcast comes on, I switch it on because he's just not only does he have so many stories. By the way, I still want the book. Oh yeah, but you said
I don't have the book. It's Garrick's book.
But you said before, like, what's the book's name again?
Quitters Never Win.
Quitters Never Win. You say, I think we've heard all those stories because he tells the stories on the podcast.
Listen, I've been a diehard Bisping listener on the BYM podcast for about six years or so. I mean, I've been there pretty much from the beginning. So yeah, look, I've heard all the stories. I had the book here for ages, but every Tuesday and Thursday, I listen to Bisping talk and he tells all the stories. So there's no need for me to read the book. I could probably tell you all stories. And
it's free on YouTube, BYM Pod.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at flyweight, Moreno, Figueroa trilogy, I think we need that to happen. What about bantamweight? I think this is also a given. I think we've got to have Sterling, the champion, versus Yan. Any other suggestions?
I mean, geez, you're very liberal with calling Sterling the champion, but
hold on a minute. He's the undisputed UFC.
Undisputed champion. Yes.
He's the reigning. He's the reigning defending undisputed UFC.
That's what the books say.
Bantamweight champion.
What do the fans say?
The fans say Petr Yan is the Russian mafia.
Look, first of all, I had a problem with that. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you get DQ'd in a fight, yes, you get DQ'd, the other guy should win. But when there's a title on the line, I think they should really change the rules a little bit because listen, let's be honest. That was as an illegitimate win as you can get. He was getting completely dominated, possibly a 10-head round. I can't tell you how many times Petr Yan swept him off his feet. I mean, just in stand-up striking, managed to sweep him off his feet every time. This is a high-level wrestler and jiu-jitsu practitioner we're talking about out of Serra-Longa. And trains with the likes of Ali Kinter and guys like Marab Dvalishvili. And
hold on, but that is what you get. Okay, first finish your point. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, so my point is, I think if that was the case, it should have been okay. No contest. Bring their belt should not be put around Aljamain.
First of all,
you can go.
First of all, rules are rules. So we'll come back to that. But you do get that though. So yes, Petr Yan is a much better striker. He's got that striking pedigree that Aljamain doesn't have. But with a black belt jiu-jitsu like like a Gracie black belt from Matt Serra's school, then maybe I'm not sure. I might be talking about Gracie black belt, but with a black belt from Serra's school, Matt Serra's school, high level black belt, could probably out-grapple anyone in the division. I'm looking down the division. I mean, maybe TJ Dillashaw's got better wrestling, but just on the floor, jiu-jitsu, grappling, as it is in the form that we know it, and the way you see it in the UFC, yes. I wouldn't say, and he was getting dominated, but there's always a heel hook, or there's always a rear naked choke. There's always an awkward fall where he grabs your back. So I think, which takes me back to my initial point, which is rules are rules.
I know you 100%. Listen, I'm a creature of statute as well. I have to follow the rules all the time.
So just on your point, and I think I agree with you in a way that I'm a soccer fan. I'm a diehard Liverpool fan. I'm a Sundowns fan. I've been watching soccer.
You're a Scouser.
I'm a Scouser, but I mean, I support Bafana whenever they play as well. Which, I mean, even though they shit and make it, and we need we need to improve our team big time. That's another conversation.
Who's the guy you chat to about with the footy? He's great as well.
Yeah, BT Batando. He was in Cape
BT.
Town.
That's it.
Yeah. He just went back to Josie now. So we actually got some news coming up. So Juice Ready sponsored Langa for Men made a football team called LFM FC, and Juice Ready and Puma sponsored the team, and BT's with Puma. So we got some cool kits coming, and we're getting printed now, and we'll do we'll do a pod on that. And the kids are getting some balls and bibs and cones, and they're starting a team. They've got a field in Langa. It's going to be epic. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about that with BT. But in football, when the referee is handing out what you could call fouls, and a player misses the ball, kicks the leg, trips the player, the guy goes over. If it's outside the box, he kind of gives it quite readily. When it's inside the box, he holds that whistle. It has to really be a kick, because the penalty kind of, it's going to lead to a goal.
It's huge in football as well.
And then also in the end with the red card, it's kind of similar. So if someone doesn't have a yellow card, they get the yellow. If someone's already on a yellow, he'll hold that yellow and be like, it takes a real serious offense. So it kind of relates to what you're saying when, if it's a title fight and someone does a illegal move, there's a belt on the line, give it a little bit of leniency. But in this case, I would say Aljamain Sterling was pretty much unconscious.
Look, I mean,
and the knee was unnecessary. I thought the knee was unnecessary. Peter Yan was dominating the fight. There was no need.
Well, I mean, he was actually told by his corner to throw the knee. I mean, that was clear on all the footage. I mean, I don't know what organization they thought they were in, but those kind of knees are not permitted in the UFC.
And he goes like this. He looks up. He goes, and they're like, throw it, and he throws it, and then they go, oh shit, and then they're like, oh well, we lost the belt.
But also there was the Eric Anders fight, and it was Eric Anders versus Darren Stewart, Darren the dentist.
Is that a welterweight division?
No, it was a middleweight fight that eventually they rematched at light heavyweight. Okay. But Anders threw an illegal knee was the week after, and that was ruled a no contest. So there's a little bit of inconsistency.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
As well. So that's even more so to my point. It happened again the week after, or in the same card the next week, twice.
Okay. Well, it's the same league, which in this case would be the UFC, and it's a different ref. So you see that a lot in the English Premier League. I don't watch a hell of a lot of PSL, South African League. I watch Chiefs versus Pirates. I watch Chiefs versus Sundowns. But you often get same league, different ref, inconsistency, and it drives you mental because you're like, guys, can't you just meet with each other and get the rules right?
But that's where the athletic commissions must come in as well. But anyway, that's a whole different ball game, because there's a lot of problems, like AKA judging at the moment. It's insane.
What do you mean by AKA judging?
Well, listen, we've just recently witnessed a fight. Like, although there was a clear winner in Rafael Fiziev versus Bobby Green in one of the last cards, Bobby Green was a clear winner. It wasn't even close. Look, it wasn't a 10-8 round, but he was the clear winner. So when they called out 30-27, he thought he had won because the first two rounds were so close. But you can edge it the first two rounds for Fiziev, but the third round was the clearest round of all three rounds.
So he thought that he got the 27.
So he thought that he got the nod because it was a 30-27.
By virtue of the fact that he had won the third round.
Yeah, and I can go on with examples. That's just the most recent. I mean, another one, Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick clearly won that fight.
Yeah, but
they gave it to Macy Barber.
I'm a Macy Barber fan, so I turned
but if you're an MMA fan and you've been following it for a while, you know who wins a fight. I mean, John Anik all the time says his 9-year-old daughter can judge a fight better than some of the judges, because if he says who won that fight, she can tell him who won that fight. It's very clear from what you see.
Okay, but should his 9-year-old daughter be watching combat sports? Is that okay?
It's a huge sport now. It's getting there to the point where kids are starting jiu-jitsu at 5 years old and they want to see fights.
I like that, and grappling's great for kids. But what about letting your 9-year-old watch Robbie Lawler versus
Rory McDonald.
Rory McDonald. No,
listen, just say it's a movie. It's just a very real movie. I don't know. Listen, I don't have kids. Don't ask me questions that I can't answer.
Correct. Neither do I. Moving swiftly along. Talking about talking about fights that were called the wrong way. The featherweight division, I think we're on the same page. Yeah, there's only one fight to make. Actually, no, it's Volk versus Ortega. I was going to say it's Volk versus Holloway 3, but it's Volk versus Ortega.
Holloway seems to be paired up with Yair at the moment, but apparently there's some injury or something to that effect. I think it's Max is fighting Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Because I was very interested to see what was going to happen with Max Holloway, because come on, that guy deserves to be fighting for the title.
I think so too. I think
only reason this is happening is because Brian Ortega looked so good against Korean Zombie. Just timing.
No, I would agree with that. I think what we should do is chat featherweight, chat lightweight, and then come back next week and chat welterweight. Because you know me, when I chat about the welterweight division, I do talk for about 2 hours. But let's see how it goes.
Let's be honest, the welterweight division is pretty self-explanatory for the meantime, eh?
Oh yeah. No, to me it isn't.
Usman, Covington 2, and then you've got.
Let's chat. So featherweight, I think Volk versus Ortega is the fight to make. Holloway versus Rodriguez. The winner of those two fights are going to fight for the title, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then lightweight, it's a similar thing. You got.
Well, let's quickly just say, how cool would it be if we saw Korean Zombie versus Calvin Kattar? What a fight that would be.
Those are two separate wild cards that are ranked number 4 and 5 at featherweight.
And they could get right to a title shot with a win over each other in that fight. Crazy. So
I'm a complete casual, but who is Arnold Allen?
Oh, man, people have been sleeping on Arnold Allen. He's on a 7-fight win streak. He's from the UK. He's often got, he's a blonde guy. He's got an amazing mustache, or moustache, as I call them.
Okay.
Absolutely unbelievable fighter. I mean, if you look at Arnold Allen, he's on a 7-fight win streak. It's crazy.
I do want to look at him. So you say he's got a beautiful head of hair and a moustache. Okay,
no,
and his nickname's
beautiful moustache.
And his nickname's Almighty.
Yes, Almighty Allen, and he's 17-1. He beat Sadiq Youssef, who's no joke. Nick Lentz,
did he?
Melendez,
okay, no, then I need to.
Jordan Rinaldi, Mads Bernal, Markwan Armarkani. Dude, he's beaten big names for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. Boom. Okay, so but he's not on a 7-fight win streak. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight win streak.
In the featherweight division, that's massive.
That's right.
So I do have another problem here. Edson Barboza is ranked 9th. I'm not happy about that.
Well, I mean, he's doing really well. He's just working himself up. I mean, Edson.
I know he has to cut a lot of weight. He's
a legend already. No, I think he does. I think he's keeping it tidy on the diets and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's just fought Iga, hasn't he?
But Iga's ranked above him. I think that he lost a decision to Dan Iga, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're casting my mind way too far back for.
But I think Qatar versus Sangjong would be epic because
amazing.
They both have great striking. I think Korean Zombie's got the edge in the grappling, but I don't know what Calvin Qatar can do on the ground. But yeah, I think all eyes are pointing to Volk versus Ortega. When is that fight?
6 weeks or so. Let's have a look. I think it's UFC 266, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about 3 weeks.
26th of September.
Okay. Yeah. Month away.
26th of September, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Co-main event is Valentina versus Lauren Murphy.
I saw the card the other day. That card is stacked. So
And
it
then Nick
says,
Diaz versus Robbie Lawler.
wow, that's a blast from the
17
past.
years later, rematch.
Did you watch the other? Have you rewatched their first fight?
Yeah, Robbie got knocked out.
Nick was incredible in that fight. But
Yeah.
what do you think happens in their next one? I know we're not talking welterweight.
I think Nick gets a decision.
I think Nick gets a decision. He's just got those quick hands, eh?
Yeah.
And he's got incredible jiu-jitsu. I don't think Robbie wants to take Nick down. Having said that, they are a little bit older now. You know, Robbie.
Yeah, but I still think Nick's had a. Remember, a lot of people think that a layoff is bad. I think for a guy like Nick Diaz, who fought so often and fought the best of the best, he needed this break. And he's coming back at 36 years old. After 6 years of rejuvenating his body, I think he might come out looking a little bit. Everybody's going to be a bit surprised. I'm hoping that's going to be.
But you get 36-year-old Tyson Fury, who's looking like
Tyson Fury's 30 years old.
No. So but what I'm saying is, imagine him at 36. I think he's going to look like absolute garbage. And then you get 36-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, who is 36 right now, and in the prime form of his life. And you get 36-year-old GSP, who's also a prime. Just to bring it back.
Well, how old is Messi? Messi's the same.
Messi's 34. I remember this because Ronaldo is 1 year older than me, and I'm 1 year older than Messi, and I'm in the prime form of my fucking life. No, I'm kidding.
Crikey.
So, no, I'm joking. So in featherweight, right? So there we go. I mean, what about lightweight? What about the champion, Charles Oliveira, the Brazilian?
Charlie Olives is obviously, in my opinion, not obviously, but in my opinion, that's going to be short-lived until DP takes it from him in the third round.
But DP is calling out Nathan Diaz, who's ranked.
Well, Nathan Diaz is what they call a needle mover. So it makes sense to fight Nate Diaz. There's a history. They were supposed to fight. Nate Diaz released a whole bunch of information that Dustin pulled out the fight and called him scared, whatnot. Dustin had to go and get hip surgery. So there's a bit of a story to tell. Remember, the one thing that we need to realize with the UFC, it's a entertainment company promotion that deals with hype and needle movers and storylines. So the storylines are very important. That's why they did the Ultimate Fighter with Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega, to create a storyline, because there wasn't much of one.
So I've never, but storylines are super important. But that's why I always love like the welterweight and the middleweight divisions just have the most stories in there. But
why do you think they brought back Nick Diaz against Robbie Lawler? Because there's a storyline.
Damn it. These guys are always making me watch. And also, like, how much is a pay-per-view? Isn't it like $60 or something?
Yeah, but if you times that by $60, or I think it's $70 now or something, by the last one that I
2 million buys or whatever
was 1.8 Poirier versus McGregor 2. Now you go $60 times 1.8 million.
Yeah, no, that's massive. Yeah, that's like, I don't want to even. My maths is usually wrong, but that's about 100 million.
And then that's even besides all the broadcasting rights. For instance, MultiChoice DSTV, they pay for their country to see the fight on DSTV. So all the money that they're getting from everything else, it's big money, bro.
And it's also minus the sponsorships that a guy like McGregor would get.
Yeah. And now they got these crypto guys. Jeez, it's crazy. Monster's huge these days. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's all the sponsorship. So you think DP takes the belt, but I heard through the grapevine, Ariel Helwani, that Gaethje is fighting Michael Chandler. What do you think about that?
Rip Michael Chandler. No, I'm only joking.
So
I think it's a great matchup. Both wrestlers, but both known for their striking as well. But I don't see Gaethje not winning that fight. I see Gaethje winning that fight. Like a Tony Gaethje, I think we might see a clinic.
I'm going to agree with you here, but I think we see deep water Gaethje swim out of that one.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Yeah, I think Chandler. Opposite. Oh, you think he knocks him out in the first 10 seconds?
No. I'm not saying it's going to be a quick fight, I'm saying, remember Ferguson Gaethje. I know Ferguson's not a wrestler, but I think anybody's got takedown defense until they meet Khabib, right?
Yeah,
that was
sure.
clearly evident when Justin faced Khabib.
Absolutely.
Now, in terms of takedown defense against anybody who is not Khabib, he's got great takedown defense. So I think a lot of it's going to be spent on the fence, but a lot of it is going to be spent against the fence with Gaethje possibly backing Chandler up, or Chandler backing Gaethje up and getting clipped.
And the winner of this fight fights for the belt. What do you think?
Yeah, I have
if
a
it's
problem
Gaethje,
with it.
if it's Gaethje.
Yeah, I have a problem with fighting for the belt if it's Chandler, because he lost to Charles
recently.
I think he needs to win one more fight after. But that's exactly what's going to happen. If Gaethje wins the fight, clear title shot. If Chandler wins the fight, he's going to have to fight one more guy until the title. And I think that's the way they're going to play it.
Yeah. So I might change my mind on this one, because I think Mike Chandler realizes that this is the fight of his entire career.
Oh, he's going to be a dog.
If he loses,
he's going to be a dog.
Yeah. If he loses this one, that's it. I think it's finished. I think his career's over. If he wins this one, his career is reinvigorated, and then he just needs to be
his championship run. You mean not his career? Because I mean his championship run, it's still alive. But if he loses to Gaethje, it's going to be a while. I mean, I don't think he's intent to retire anytime soon. I mean, he is 35. He's built like a brick shit house. He looks young. So
yeah, but
who knows what will happen?
I just have a feeling that he has made enough money that when he is not on a championship run anymore, he resigns. He retires. He gets over it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
And what do you think about? I mean, what do you think about Beneil Dariush?
I love him. Such a good guy.
He's a great guy. He's also a Republican. But what do you think about?
I don't get involved in politics. I do personalities.
No, I saw
what you believe in, bro. It's not going to make a difference to me.
No, I don't like the way Colby goes or all that shit. I just I see Dariush after his last fight. He called out. He's like, "Fuck, we just need to get rid of Marxism." And I was like, "Ooh, that sounded interesting to me."
That's my guy.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm open to all sides and to hearing all stories. What do you think about Dariush's skills in order to become the reigning, defending, undisputed lightweight UFC champion of the world?
Who Beneil?
I don't think
he's got a really good style. I like his style. I mean, he's
a great grappler.
He's a great wrestler, but you know what the funny thing is? He's like it's almost like I get the same feeling I do with him as I do with Drickus. He just always looks a little bit unorthodox and awkward in the cage, but he always seems to get the job done. He's an excellent wrestler. He's got some dynamite in his hands. We saw what happened with him between him and Draco Close, where he was getting pretty much lit up, and then he was against the cage. He threw one left hook and had him
he's got
Close
power
on skates. Ended up right across the cage, and he ended up putting him out with a right hand. But
I think he's got serious power.
No, I think 100%. I think his physique is misleading, where he's a lot stronger than you think or than he looks, and he's got a very good fight IQ, and I think he's going to go far. But let's see. I don't know who he's going to be put up again, because he's number 3. So Gaethje, Chandler, you got Poirier, Oliveira. So the only thing is, I mean, it's going to be crazy. We got Islam versus RDA. So the only thing you can do is wait, because he's already beaten the only person that is available in the top 7, and that's Tony Ferguson. But so he's going to have to wait for someone to win.
Can I ask a question? Why we still need to talk about Dan Hooker, because why is he 8? But anyway, he did lose against Chandler. But why does Islam Makhachev always fight someone ranked below him? I don't understand. Well, who was his last fight?
It's the Khabib curse, because that's what they did to Khabib. Remember, Michael Johnson, then it was so-and-so, then it was so-and-so, then eventually he started getting Barbosa, and then he started getting other people, and then eventually he fought for the title.
Well, and then he beat Dustin, Conor, Gaethje, all the biggest names in the sport.
100%.
Yeah.
But that's the way the UFC are dealing with him for some unknown reason. I don't know. He should have fought for the title already, as far as I'm concerned. But then
I would love to see Makhachev versus Charlie Olives, because I think they would have to. And Charlie Olives is a better striker, but they would have to strike, because if they went to the ground, the world would sort of melt and meteorites would just come from outer space, because their grappling is so fucking amazing. So yeah, like a cataclysmic event would just happen, and the dinosaurs, and we would just all be dead. So, speaking about that, I think we're going to wrap up today. Just on
the Makhachev thing quickly, I've just been looking at it. I think the reason why Islam hasn't quite got to that point yet is because of the Martins fight when he got knocked out in round 1.
But that wasn't in the UFC, was it?
Yeah, it was. UFC 192.
That's a long time ago.
It was his debut.
What sort of tear is he on? He's on like a 9-fight.
He's on an 8-fight win streak. But I think the thing that is hindering him, and that has made the UFC slow down on his rise.
So maybe his debut. Yeah, they gave him. But also, hold on, to be knocked out on your debut, and to then come back into an 8-fight win streak. Have you I've done this in my career, where I started a job and it went horrendously bad, and you had to pick yours, because it was easier to quit than to try to work somewhere else than to stick it out.
Quitters never win.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But to lose on your debut and a lot of people's brains and minds would go, shit, can I really do this? And he didn't question that. He just carried on going, and he used his grappling, and he's got Khabib as a partner and a mentor. He's in one of the best teams in and he's a Dagestani, if I'm not mistaken. He's cut from the cloth of the old ancient. These guys have been wrestling as long as the Japanese have been doing karate. Yeah. So I suppose exactly. So I mean, just to wrap up, what is the fight that you are most looking forward to in the next couple of weeks? Can't say Jake Paul, can't say Tyron Woodley. By the way, we never actually quickly before we do that. Before we say that, who do you think is going to win that one? Let's just talk let's just talk shit for like 1 minute. Who do you think is going to win, Jake Paul or Tyron Woodley? What round?
Oh, listen, just on. Look, it's a tough one, because you got Jake Paul, who's beaten Ben Askren, and two other YouTubers, or Nate Robertson, who was an NBA player who was half Paul's size, and Ben Askren was also smaller than Jake Paul. And then you've also got now Woodley, who's smaller than Jake Paul. We don't know Woodley, how much power Jake Paul possesses, but Woodley, it's also going from MMA to boxing. So hold on, but listen, Woodley, as much as I want to say Woodley's got it, I think Woodley, yeah.
So but Jake Paul is a light heavyweight, right? But would you say he's a middleweight?
Yeah, he's above 200 pounds. He's about 220.
Yeah, I'd say he's a light heavyweight if he competed in MMA. Woodley,
he would have to cut down to light heavyweight.
Oh, would he? Okay, all right. I thought he would walk around at about 205. Okay, so he's a big boy. Okay, because Woodley is a welterweight, but he could easily fight at middleweight. I think he was cutting a lot of weight to get down to 170.
Yeah,
so for sure. I don't think Woodley's got a massive size disadvantage. I think he's got the same size arms. He's got bombs, and I think Paul's got better reach. I think Woodley's got
better reach.
When it comes to pure boxing, I think Woodley might not have an advantage in terms of how much Jake Paul.
He definitely have a power advantage. I don't know. We don't know how powerful Jake Paul is.
All we've seen is that one power shot versus Ben, which put him on his ass.
Well, and the Nate Robinson one, but he was an NBA player. So it's almost like an unknown territory. So I feel very uncomfortable always picking those fights, because sometimes these YouTubers, look at Logan Paul versus Mayweather. I mean, I would kill to have a body like Logan Paul and his athleticism.
I mean, I just can't help it. I already look like Floyd Mayweather. What is the one? So just to wrap up, what's the one MMA fight that you're really looking forward to? I'm also going to go Woodley, by the way. But
That's booked or something that I would want to watch.
So, give me both. Let's go. The one that's booked, and the one that your dream matchup. Look, we've already.
I'm really looking forward to Gaethje Chandler.
Amazing.
100%. I'm looking very forward to Volk Ortega. That's a much anticipated fight. But got to be honest, this card coming up on the 4th of September, I cannot wait. It's going to be full of British fighters, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Darren Till back in the octagon. Just to see him perform again. I mean, he's been out for ages.
Is it Till versus Hall? Who's he fighting?
No, Till versus Brunson on Saturday, the 4th of September in Vegas. And then that's when Paddy the Baddie's making his debut. So I'm really looking forward.
Okay, that's an epic card. So I think for me, it's going to be, I want to see Holloway fight anybody, including like my dead grandmother. Sorry, that was rude. But I want to see Ortega. I want to see Holloway versus a grandmother. I just want to see Holloway fight. No, so the one I'm looking forward to is Volk versus Ortega, because I want to see what happens. I think Ortega gets into the ground, and Volk says he's got jiu-jitsu for the entire division. So I want to see that.
Don't sleep on Volk, bro.
Don't sleep on Volk. You can't sleep on Volk. Look what he's just done in his career in a short amount of time in the last year or two.
The fight I really want to see is Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, bro.
Okay, at heavyweight. Yeah, that's for the undisputed title. Yeah. And last thing I'll say is, like, I wonder if Bruce Buffer goes undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world, or does he just say UFC heavyweight champion of the world, because now he is a disputed champion?
No. He doesn't say undisputed because there's an interim title.
So he says the UFC heavyweight champion, and then he goes
do they say he's undisputed?
Because now he is
interim, and then it's an interesting one, bro.
I'll go and rewatch the
I'll
fight.
Definitely listen. Yeah,
you can watch Whittaker versus Izzy, where Izzy had the interim belt.
You could actually watch Gaethje Habib as well.
That's correct. Yeah. Because Khabib came back with the old belt.
Yeah, and Gaethje was the interim title holder at the time.
Yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to say, Papa G, thank you so much. Welcoming back. Welcoming Juice Ready back to the channel. And I haven't been around for 3 months. We're going to do an episode a week from now, and we've got Nick coming back to talk about politics. We've got BT coming back to talk about footy. We got a guy that I work with, Andre. He wants to talk about paranormal, ghosts, spirits. He's agreed. He's just had a kid though, so that might be a while. We got some cool episodes coming up. It's sport, it's culture, it's art, it's everything in between. I can hear your dogs again. They just give them a kiss for me. Thank you, Papa. I appreciate it, bro. Any last words?
Anytime, man. Listen, I enjoy talking the MMA and the sports and all that kind of stuff with you. So I'm happy to come on anytime. It's been fun. Wish you the best with the podcast going forward. I'm looking forward to your episodes with Nick and VT and the boys. All the best in your journey. Happy to see you happy and healthy. And until next time.
Peace.